advertising and media industry over the last few years has been plagued by multiple global predicaments and changing trends that are truly beyond the madmen's control. Right from the ongoing digital transformation to the impact of the US presidential elections and Brexit on bottom lines, procurement pressures, and of course the complexity revolving around creation of engaging content. Well, I caught up with the global CEO of Mindshare, Nick Emery, to get a sense of how WPP's biggest media agency is grappling with the changing times and how it's evolving itself to deal with the rather indecisive and confused client in an age of multiple options. Take it away. Thank you so much for joining us, Nick. Truly a pleasure having you in India and, of course, on Brand Equity.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Let's talk about more macro issues because we truly are in interesting times, putting it mildly. First, we had Brexit, and now we have Donald Trump. So, as one of the world's leading media agencies, what's your view on the entire Trump versus Hillary campaign? And tell me, as a person who actually tracks data, tracks outputs, tracks the pulse, do you think the entire nation and, of course, the entire advertising community got it completely wrong?
No, I don't think they got it wrong, but I think they ignored it. And I think that the biggest theme that comes out of this is how people react to populism, both populism on the left and populism on the right.
Sure.
And there are lots of concerns about what happens post-Trump, what happens post-Brexit, in terms of mergers and acquisitions, in terms of inflation, in terms of currency. But I think the biggest trend is how we react as a business to populism, and that was the trend that people either saw and ignored or wanted to suppress because they didn't like the story of it. The division between a populist approach, the populist both left and right, and what people are terming a global elite, of which I guess we are technically part, is I think the biggest issue and the biggest lesson of that and Brexit and what's happening in all the economies and the sea change that we're seeing around the world.
Fair enough. What would you say, you as an advertising, media, marketing professional, and what should professionals in this community learn from this campaign?
You need to do both the lessons of that campaign. I mean, the lessons of that campaign were that, yes, you have to read and understand data, but it's not all about data. You have to have a message as well. And what's interesting from our client base is if we talk to our clients who come from a digital background, they understand addressability and they understand how to manipulate data. They're less familiar with how to build brands. And we talk to clients from a more legacy background who understand how to build brands, they're not quite sure how to use data. And so the lesson from that and the challenge for our business generally this year and next year is how we build a branding business and a performance business. A world that understands brands and a world that understands outcomes. Because traditionally the marketing world has understood marketing and understood branding and channel audiences and big brands and aggregated, popular messaging. It's been less good at micro individual targeting. And the promise that media now holds out for our clients is that we become virtual shelf space for clients. We become another means of reaching and maximizing their revenue.
I agree with you, but I'm just saying, like you yourself said, that more and more clients are looking at an omni-channel strategy. By using an omni-channel strategy, and given the fact that today, you might have metrics, but they're all biased metrics for
some of them.
The digital world, right? How do you really know what is really happening and what has really worked and hence given you that outcome?
You're right. The world of return on investment is not as clear-cut as it is. You can't just sit down with a CEO and say, right, this did this, this did this. But you've never been able to do that.
Sure.
There's always been a certain amount of regression and a certain amount of modeling to things. It's never going to be a completely perfect world. It is much more certain than it was. But I think to get to that point, it involves a closer union between clients and agencies in terms of sharing data. So for us to do that, we have to have much more data from clients and vice versa. So what I think will happen with our industry, if you really want to achieve that, is that we will almost form like a series of joint ventures with our clients to drive sales, to share data, to force a new kind of metric.
What do you mean like a joint venture?
Well, if in our world, if you want to move beyond being paid on the number of people who work on your business or the commission of media, you want to be paid on the sales that we make. If we do that, then
the outcome-based.
Yeah. Then to do that, you have to have much more transparency on both sides about what is working, but also the effect it's having on the clients' business. Because otherwise, how can you judge it and how can you work?
So would you be happy with that kind of arrangement and model? Would you be happy telling your client that I want to be paid depending on the outcome, which means if there is no real results, then you won't get paid? Would you be happy with that?
Yes.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Well, I mean...
Otherwise, I don't believe in the power of media, otherwise I'm not going to do that.
No, but I mean, if you actually believe in that, well, why won't clients jump at it? I mean, it's perfect. It's finally...
Well, some are thinking about it, but it's because the system is not necessarily designed to do that. You know, an historical business based on a commission, an FTE, and certain closed doors about data, it's a leap sometimes to get to that. And also the auditing business and the sort of pitching way that our business works, it is not designed around that. It is not a kind of collegiate system to say, let's all put lots of smart brains in a room together and work out the best possible way to do it. Sometimes divide and conquer, because all the different self-interests in our business is the way it works.
Tell me, Nick, has any kind of change happened in perception, from the client's point of view when one talks with media agencies? Has there been, are they looking at you with, more, let's say, trusting eyes, given the whole transparency issue that we saw transpire, last year and about. Do you see any effort being made as an industry at large from your end to tell them that, we're actually quite clean?
Yes, I mean, we do a lot. I mean, it's an unfortunate thing that trust has broken down. And because the reason why Mindshare and companies like us were created originally was to be a neutral, independent voice for our clients against the might of media and TV stations at the time. And it's the same again now, but with the big digital players. And by not working together in a mutual atmosphere of trust, then we're not creating shared metrics. We're not moving towards new ways of working. And we're allowing a kind of distrust to permeate the business.
2015 is a tough year for everybody because of the plethora of pitches. Are you seeing things now settle down? Are you seeing clients comfortable with their partners, or are they still edgy and, like it's popularly called, are they still going through the Tinder effect of going to swipe and possibly look at other agencies?
Possibly. I don't think the auditing pressure and the procurement pressure is going to go away.
Okay.
But I do think there is a feeling that since 2009 there's a limit to how many times you can do a pitch, and there's a limit to how low you can go before you've just gone below any feasible metric. And the optimistic side of me believes that the next scale of reviews will be much more about what can media do for me? What can you do for me if you put together all my digital, my data, and facilitate my content assets into one place? What is the true potential of media, and how can I pull it together? I think that is the potential. I mean, my view of media is sometimes that media can be the most boring job in the world if you're just doing competitive reports. But it's also the most exciting, because our clients' reputation goes up and down on the barometer of Google and Facebook. It's 20th Century Fox. It is all our clients. It's Hollywood. It's the most exciting business to work in if you are either in the content business or the data and the tech business. So I hope that clients embrace that, and that the pictures are much more fun and dynamic and about business-changing opportunities, and not about the lowest common denominator.
You're really being optimistic.
So I have to be. I do believe that.
On that note, Nick, thank you so much. This is truly wonderful.
Thank you very much.